Oh, Taco! How about that one?
That's our new leaders right there.
Big Silly!
University of Montevallo, 24-96. National champions, Wallace State, Briar and Clinton. Hey there, everybody. Welcome into the newest episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. Welcoming all the anglers back to campus. School started here within the last week to 10 days for everybody. First events on the schedule for this fall semester are coming up soon. Our first tournament, the Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash, presented by Berkeley, will be taking place at Kentucky Lake at the end of September. Go to our website, collegiatebasschampionship.com. Get signed up for that now. Today's show, we're going to be talking with Laindree Richardson, collegiate angler. If the name sounds familiar, she's been out on the circuit for a while. She's making the move from Wabash Valley College to Drury University to compete this season. We'll talk about all that coming up here as we start to talk to her in just a moment. So, Laindree, we'll welcome you in now. Let's just start with the basics. Everybody's got a story, a history, an influence, why they got involved in fishing. Let's start at your youth, or maybe you started fishing later, as you were a teenager. Kind of talk about where you got your start in fishing and if anyone had an influence in that for you.
Right. So, yeah, as you said, I've been in the fishing industry for quite a while. I started competitively fishing my 6th grade year of high school, where I didn't really do any junior tournaments. I went straight into the high school circuit just because there wasn't as many opportunities for junior anglers, not as many as there is now. I fished all throughout high school, where I was thankful enough to get a full tuition scholarship to go to Wabash Valley College. I stayed at Wabash for about a year, and I got my associate's degree, and then that's whenever I decided to transfer out to Drury University, and that's where I'm at right now.
Let's talk a little bit about the high school years. What did you learn? What kind of experiences took place that maybe kind of helped you not only off the water but on the water as well to be successful to help you get into college and pursue the dreams you're at now?
Right, yeah. So high school bass fishing for me was a huge learning experience. My dad was my boat captain for the majority of the tournaments that I went to. We were gone about every single weekend. My teachers in high school were extremely lenient with me, and especially with the COVID years, it got me a little bit more leniency because I'd be able to do online school on the boat, or whenever I needed to travel at a tournament, it gave me a little bit of extra time to pre-fish and do things that we needed to do in case we needed to travel extra. Because a lot of the tournaments that I went to were out of state. They were in Missouri, they were in Kentucky. I mean, we were just all over the place. My dad was probably the best role model for me for that, because he'd drive all day and all night, because I tried not to miss as much school as possible, because school is most important out of everything, especially being in the college circuit now. High school fishing just really opened me up, and it made me realize that I did want to go to the next level and be in the college circuit.
Let's talk real quick. I don't know that I've ever asked anybody this question before, but that move from high school to college, I'm significantly older than most active college anglers now. I'm in my early 30s, but high school fishing wasn't really a thing. It was starting to pop up a little bit. It was more regional and not as nationwide as it is now, so I didn't ever get to experience this. But making the move from high school to college, you lose the adult boat captain in the boat. What is that like? We go to our first tournaments of the year here in the next couple months, and we'll get questions from freshman anglers, and there's some learning curve, and they're trying to figure out, hey, what do I do here? How about this? Calling, asking questions as I function as the tournament director out there as well. And I always find it interesting because you get those first couple tournaments of the year, you're trying to figure stuff out because you no longer have, an adult supervisor in the boat. You're out there with another teammate as two college students competing. Talk about that. What's it like to go from having an adult in the boat to now it's just you and another college student trying to figure it out and catch a lot of fish?
Yeah, so along with that, since my dad was my boat captain for a lot of the things, I didn't have to really worry about everything. He'd usually get my rods ready if I was too busy at school or with another sport, but he'd drive everywhere. He backed in the boat, and that was kind of something that I had to learn on my own whenever I got to school, because first few months of school I didn't have a boat, and then I got a boat, so I had to kind of learn how to do all of that by myself. But it was a pretty big learning curve, but my coach, Todd Gill at Wabash Valley, he helped me out with a lot of the stuff that I did, and he made sure that I was well equipped for the tournaments before I got there and made sure that I was comfortable with everything that I was doing.
That's awesome. It's always great to have that support once you get out on the road. Being a college angler, a lot of times you're away from home, you're out by yourself, so to have that support is great, whether it's in the form of teammates, coaches, advisors, whatever there is there on campus and in place to help support you all. Let's talk about that move to Wabash, coming out of high school, going to Wabash Valley College. What influenced you to want to go there? Was there something specific? Did you have other options? Was there a process to it all? Kind of explain how everything came to be that found yourself going from high school to Wabash to compete on the collegiate fishing circuit.
Yeah, so Wabash was extremely convenient for me to go to school for, since I had already done about a year of college and dual credit classes in high school, so I didn't really want to go too far away, just so I could go home every weekend in case I needed to. So Wabash was just really convenient, and they had a newly fishing program that Todd had just set up, and I just really liked the way that the program was set up and just how good of a team that they were going to be, because, I mean, I could see the potential from far away, and especially the teammates that I had there. My teammates, I wouldn't have been able to make it through that season of my life, and especially that season of fishing without them, because the friendships that I made there were just absolutely amazing.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about that experience before we get to your most recent move and your fresh start there at Drury. At Wabash, in competing out on the college circuit for the first time, we just asked a question a little bit ago about what you learned in high school and how that helped shape you now that you've been through a full season out on the college level. What's some different things that you found out? Maybe you found out that you're better than you thought you were. Maybe you're learning different strengths at deep water versus shallow water, clear, muddy. Just across the gamut of college fishing, you can cover a lot of different things. Is there any one thing that sticks out to you as being, man, in this last year or two out on the college circuit, I've really benefited and learned from this?
Oh, yeah. So one of the main things that I've definitely had to pick up and learn is like electronics and different graphs, because all throughout middle school and high school, I didn't have live scope. I didn't have the fancy graphs. So getting to get kind of just involved and just kind of getting to experience live scope and getting to actually watch where things are and how to read a graph and where to know where to be at whenever, or with water depth and everything. Getting to see those electronics like firsthand and actually getting to experience was extremely beneficial, and definitely not something that I thought that I was going to do. And I'm extremely grateful to have that now, since I do have that on my boat, but that'll be a huge learning experience that I'm still going through.
That's awesome. It's awesome to hear the learning. I look back at myself 14 years ago now when I was coming out of high school, and I went to school I grew up in Dallas and went to college in Arkansas, and the transition for me was, I think, like every trip home I was buying lighter line and more spinning gear because the water was clearer, the fish were more pressured, and that was just kind of the way you had to tailor it. Now y'all are learning about electronics. That type of stuff back then didn't even exist, so it's cool to kind of see the progression of it all and the evolution of it, and just hear everybody's different stories is really awesome. We're talking with Laindree Richardson, college angler, now at Drury University. Let's talk about that move. So you've competed at Wabash, and now you're making the switch over, transferring to Drury University. We'll see you competing for them this upcoming season. How did that all come to be? You mentioned earlier you came into Wabash with some credits already from dual credit. You got your associates. Now you're ready to move on. Was that move, how did that come to be for you to be able to pursue, I guess now Drury offers you the opportunity for a 4-year degree and then to continue to compete at the college level as well?
Right. So I realized that with Wabash, I'd only be there a year with the dual credits that I came out with from high school, and I knew that I wanted to continue on in that circuit and transfer out into a bigger university. And with Rick, I've known Rick from the National Youth Fishing Association, which my dad ran the Illinois circuit, and then JP Sell ran the Missouri circuit, which he's a fantastic dude. I owe a lot to him, especially because he got me into fishing on Missouri lakes, and he kind of built me up from the bottom there. Rick's just been a huge help with me, because I was definitely a little bit worried moving with the distance and everything, but if you think about it, it's a tournament's drive away from my house. But Rick's been extremely supportive, and especially the new teammates that I have here, they've also been extremely supportive, and they've just made me feel like it's a home away from home, and they've made sure that I'm extremely respected, and just been super good teammates so far.
Yeah, what went into the process going from Wabash to Drury? Was it a drawn-out deal where you visited a lot of different places and talked to different people, or had you kind of made your mind up, had seen Drury out on the trail, seen their success in the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia, and did you already know, like, if and when I do decide to leave Wabash, I already know where I want to go, or was there a bit of a journey and a story to how you wound up in Springfield?
So I definitely took into consideration to some different universities, some four-year universities. I looked at Greenville, I looked at McKendree, I looked at the bigger schools, and I just didn't necessarily, Drury was the first school that I went and visited at, and I just felt the most at home. And I met with Rick, of course, which at a more professional setting where I actually got to be on campus with him and talk to him in person. And I kind of just realized there, like, it was a dream school before I had even gotten here. Like, it's where I wanted to go, but just the opportunity wasn't there. But after Wabash getting to transfer out here, it made it a lot easier, and the transfer process was super smooth and it went easy. Didn't really have any issues with the transfer process. The administration here made it super simple, and the admissions advisor at Wabash was super helpful, especially getting transcripts sent over and everything that needed to be here.
That's awesome. One other question I want to ask you, we hear this sometimes from different anglers, is they're going from high school into college. Their decisions also influence sometimes based upon location. If you're Murray State and you're near Kentucky Lake, or UNA, we go to Florence every year and host an event. They're right there on Pickwick. You look at Drury, the Ozarks chain of lakes, they're nearby. Table Rock, you have Bull Shoals. There's several others a little further north up into the state as well that offer great fishing opportunities. Were you driven at all by going to a little bit different part of the country that's saturated with good fishing lakes that you get out of class early on a Friday and you want to go hit the water? It's really easy to do nearby.
Yeah, most definitely. So I fished a lot of Missouri lakes throughout high school, so I was kind of involved with them, but didn't really know how to fish them as well as what I should have. But definitely being here and having the opportunity to just go out and fish, drive 45 minutes to Table Rock or 45 minutes to anywhere else that I needed to go. Love Bull Shoals. I fished Bull Shoals a lot, and Lake of Ozarks and Table Rock, so I'm pretty familiar with all of those. But I mean, they are just absolutely beautiful fisheries, and they just produce fish year round. They don't stop. So it's just a huge benefit and a huge blessing to be able to have those lakes just on hand.
That's cool. Before I got my job here, I've been with Careco and helping out with the Collegiate Bass Fishing Series for 6-7 years now. But before I came, I worked at a local news station there in Springfield, Missouri. So familiar with the area a little bit, had the boat store down at Table Rock Lake and did a lot of fishing there. But you look at the history of both collegiate and professional fishing, and you've got the likes of Rick Clunn, college anglers that have gone through the college ranks and moved on out to the pro circuits, like Cody Huff, different anglers that are really well skilled. Jeremy Lawyer's another one that comes to mind. We could probably sit here and rattle them all off, but they've really honed their skills on these highland reservoirs in that part of the country where Drury University is located. And you see it at the college circuit as well. Drury's been competitive all over the place throughout the years. You've got Missouri State that's also in the same town as y'all. They come out and are successful year in and year out. You push down a little further, there's some schools in northern Arkansas, the folks at Arkansas Tech. That area produces good anglers is what I'm getting at. Kind of talk a little bit about what you're hoping to maybe learn in that region that you can carry on out and continue this legacy of success for these anglers that have done really well in these Ozarks fisheries and then take it out to the national scale.
Yeah, there's definitely things that I need to pick up and learn on, because especially with Illinois, there's dirty water. There's not really the fisheries that I was raised on. They're nothing like what is over here. Something that I'd like to get to improve on is my graphs using just the different electronics that I have down here, and just being able to adapt and keep moving with the different fisheries that we go to, especially with all of the traveling that we do, and just being able to keep my head up, which isn't too hard to do, but just taking something from every event and using it as a learning experience, whether it's a good event or a bad event, just taking something away from it nonetheless.
Couple more questions to go here. We'll finish up talking about the college scene real fast as we enter this new season, starting at Drury University for the 2023-24 season. Talk a little bit about what y'all would like to accomplish as a team. You're showing up with the new team. Maybe there's a personal goal that you'd like to accomplish or achieve, and then also the team. I'm sure, top 10, top 5, winning the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia is at the top of the list as well.
Right. So, the first 2 weeks of school, they set out the national rankings or the predictions for the rankings. And that's something that I definitely like to build on. A personal goal for me is just trying to, the number doesn't necessarily matter, just as long as we are constantly improving and keeping up our team morale and just being able to have those relationships on the team, which, a top 10 would be absolutely fantastic, but you just can't, you can't sit and just dog yourself over something, but it's better to sit there and have a good team morale and being able to keep your team in check and being able to constantly improve. And that's just something that I'd like to continue to work on this year, and that's just a personal goal for me.
Definitely a good goal for sure. I like to follow all types of sports. College football is getting fired up, and you see that happen. Some teams are going to have a rough start here in the first 3 or 4 weeks, and some of those teams are going to be resilient and finish the season on a high note, and others of them, it might be the end of their season. So being able to keep a good team morale like you're talking about, have, good working relationship with the anglers on the team. Definitely, a 12-month race like the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia is. There's going to be highs and lows. Keeping that team together all the way to the finish line is definitely key for all the teams wanting to compete well in that race. Now let's shift to a little bit of the personal side for you as it pertains to your career and what you hope to achieve and what you've achieved so far as a lady angler in collegiate fishing. Not just a ton of ladies out there competing on the college circuit. For yourself to be able to come out, maybe set a bit of a example for younger anglers that could look up to you and want to come do the same thing. Kind of talk a little bit if, does that drive you at all, or any message you want to share with a female angler that might be listening that's kind of on the fence, do I want to go to college and fish or not? What's something you might share with them?
Yeah, most definitely. That's one of the huge things that I was super intimidated by and super nervous about coming into, especially a different college or even Wabash in general. Taking that extra step forward and setting out and being an example, because it's definitely a little intimidating whenever you walk across the stage and all you look out and see is a group of males, which it's never been too big of an issue for me since I've grown up in the industry. But something just to keep in mind, fish don't know whose line's in the water. They can't tell if it's a boy or a girl, if they're a man or a woman. They bite it if you have it in the right spot and at the right time, and that's just something you have to keep just in the back of your mind at all times. You can't be discouraged, and you just have to get out there and do what you're supposed to do and keep the example going. I hope that I'm a vision for younger anglers, because there needs to be more women in the circuit. If they can keep up with it and they can show out and do what they're supposed to do, they need to go out and do it, because it can be a little intimidating. But I've grown relationships with a lot of the girls on the circuit, and I'm definitely thankful for that, because it makes it a little less intimidating, and it just gives you a little friendly competition every once in a while.
Definitely good advice there. We applaud you for getting out there and competing and be successful and continue to pursue your dreams. So that leads me to my last two questions I want to ask are, when you were that young girl, maybe on the dock with a bobber and a worm hanging out with dad, would you have ever dreamed that, you'd be here today, you're on a podcast, you're continuing to pursue your dreams in fishing at the college level, getting scholarships at certain stops along the way, just where you've grown your career to be where you're at now? Would you have ever dreamt, 10 years ago or so, however long it might have been, that you would be at this point today?
As a younger girl, I don't really recall any bigger female anglers in the circuit, but the older that I've gotten, the more I've tapped into the female anglers that fish, like Maggie Joe and Midwest Fisher Girl, and just all of them. I absolutely applaud them, and I just admire their strength and their ability to go out and do just anything that they set their mind out to do. They're just absolutely fantastic. I've been able to meet with both of them in person, and I mean, they are just amazing girls. Just growing up, it was definitely difficult being able to not really have a female advocate to rep the sport, but my dad and my brother both kept me in check, and they made sure that I just kept doing what I was supposed to be doing. And then that leads me around to say, yeah, I always wanted to do something in the fishing industry, whether it meant I got to fish in college or potentially in the elite, or if I went and worked for a Bassmaster or a fishing company or something along the lines of that.
That leads me in. You might have just answered my last question for me, but we'll set it out there anyways and see what you got to say. So, school will be done here in the next couple of years. What is the next step for you? What's the goal? Do you get out of college fishing, finish with a degree? What might that degree be in? Is that the career you want to pursue when you're done? Do you want to continue to fish and try and chase that dream? We see many anglers try to do it, go into different levels regionally and then nationally and try to make it to the big stage. What do you want to try to accomplish in the next 5 to 10 years as you wrap up college fishing and kind of go out on your own and pursue a professional career, whether it's on the water or off?
Yeah, so I've kind of always envisioned myself doing something in the fishing industry, whether it's making boats and following in my mom and dad's footsteps where they've worked at multiple boat factories, or becoming a spokesman as a communications major. I'd absolutely love to become a spokesman for any of my sponsors or any of my team sponsors, or just anywhere in the fishing industry in general. But for the most part, yeah, I've always seen myself working somewhere in the fishing industry somewhere down the road.
That's awesome. Well, Laindree, thanks for joining us here today. You listened to our interview with Laindree Richardson, angler at Drury University this upcoming year, making that move from Wabash Valley College to Drury University in Springfield. She'll be out on the trail. We'll look for, see how she does this upcoming year, as well as the team there at Drury. Best of luck to y'all as y'all get out and start the new season. New school year is underway. It's crazy to say, but we're getting rolling, and we'll be out on the road as well in just a month. So best of luck to you and the team.
Fishing is all about connecting with nature. Then grabbing nature by the lip and holding it up for a picture.
If you want to be here, it all starts here. At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we have the widest selection of the quality brands you love to get you outdoors. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our friendly, knowledgeable outfitters will help you find the right products for your next trip. Shop with confidence with our low price guarantee. Plus, club members save even more on great gear with exclusive member pricing. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, voted America's best outdoor retailer.